The market squeezes the bears as expected. Is it the running of the bulls? This is Invest with Jacob. Okay, guys, so in yesterday's video, I told you it was very likely that the bears were set up to get squeezed, and that's exactly what we saw as the market pushed about 75 points higher up into some key resistance. And now the question is, can the bulls keep running? I'll get into that in just 1 second, but first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the SP 500 and the NASDAQ. Highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, no day trades yesterday on Gap and Goes. It's hard to get a setup for a day trade, but we did have our swing trade. We entered right before Jerry opened his mouth on Wednesday, and we rode that all the way up to the end of the day, making a very nice profit on that. Another winner for us, another great day in the room, a whole bunch of happy people. It's a great community. If you want to be part of this winning team, I'm not sure what you're waiting for, guys. It's amazing in here. We're all having fun. Stay tuned for later in the video for that. But for now, let's jump into the chart and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the daily futures chart for the S&P 500. I zoomed out to the daily so we can kind of see the bigger picture. There's not a lot of structure in here to go over anyway, and the counts are pretty straightforward. So off the high, remember we've been talking about this as the diagonal down, A, B, C, D, and E. And I told you last Friday that we would likely be looking for a hard reversal once that bottom came in. We bought the bottom last Friday, had a nice swing winner up to here, bought the Jerry Presser right here, had a nice swing winner again. So absolutely killed it this week. 2 winning day trades as well. So everything was very strong for us in the week here. And essentially we got what you would expect, this hard move back up off the diagonal bottom. And now they're coming into the 382 retrace. There's some other resistance here that we talked about in my room and that I also teach in my Elliott Wave for Beginners course that you can check out later in the video. But good resistance coming into this area. We would look for a potential pullback, and there's a couple reasons for this. Number one, the 382 is the most common target for an A wave of a counter trend move. So we'd be looking for the A wave to come up to the 382. You'd look for a B wave pullback into the 4225, 4250 area. I'm sorry, 4225 to 4200 area. And then you'd look for a C wave up toward 4400 to 4468. As high as 45.51, but if they're going to hit 45.51, I'd want to see this A wave go higher, and that still can happen. The bullish Thursday here does set up for a bullish Friday, so I don't necessarily think a pullback is a slam dunk. I'm saying that this is a common level to see a pullback. So let's be clear here on what I'm saying. This is a common level to see a pullback, but until we see evidence of that, they can continue higher towards this 4,400 level next. If they're going to break the chain here. So that's what we're looking for potentially, is if they're going to hold this resistance area, we'd like to see them pull back towards the 4225 to 4200 area and then push back up towards 4400 to 4468. And that would give us this wave 2 here. Now that wave 2 would be the lead in to wave 3 of C down, and that would be where we start to see the real fireworks. And essentially off any high, we're looking for a 5-wave move down. If we get 5 waves, that would be a strong indicator that we're in that wave 3. And then we need a wave 2 of 3 bounce, and then we'd look for the real breakdown after that. So as we move up here over the 382, any high that gives us a 5-wave pullback should be treated with very much caution to the downside, as it can be the breakthrough and our move down through the 4,000 area. Some alternates to think about here. The 382 is the most common A-wave target. The second one is the 50% at 4402, so they can extend this higher. It's not like they have to pull back here. If they are able to push up through basically the top of this channel and this resistance here, 4402 would be next. Then we'd look for a pullback from there. But if that's the case, okay, then we're looking for a couple of different options. We'd be looking for a pullback a little higher up towards 4250 and then more toward that 4550 area, 4468 to 4550. Again, I don't think that's going to be the case if they're going to be in the bearish count. So if we're going to stay bearish and if we're going to stay with this being a wave 1 and this a wave 2, I really want to see the the bears hold 4468. I don't want to see them get much higher than a kind of look above here and fail and then turn down. Can they take it to 45.51? Yes, but I'll start to become skeptical at that point that they're going to follow through. The higher this A wave goes, or this move off the low goes, the more advantage to the bulls, and we'll look at that on the NASDAQ as well. But the reason for that would be If you remember, I said the bulls aren't dead. They do have the ability to play out a diagonal to the upside, where this would be wave 4 as I have it labeled, and then you'd look for an A, B, C up to about 4,800, a little over that to give us a slightly new higher high. And then we'd look for a very fast drop, as this would be an ending diagonal coming up. We'd get to a new higher high, and then the drop would be very sharp off of there, just like it was very sharp off of this low straight up. You would look for that same kind of situation here. So the bulls aren't dead. They do have some life, but it's not what I would consider something I'm going to worry about until we start to see this move up continue in a much stronger fashion. So essentially, the key to take away from all of this is on any high, if we see a corrective pullback, we should expect one more push. If we see a 5-wave pullback, we should expect a bounce and then a drop. So that is the key. No matter how high they take this, we're going to watch the pullback because that will tell the story, just like it always does, because 3 waves are generally corrective and 5 waves are impulsive. And that gives us a strong idea of what to look out for. So overall, right now, we're going to see how this 382 resolves itself. If we get a pullback and then higher, that makes it much stronger possibility we're in this wave 2. If they push up and then pull back, depends on how high they push. The higher they push, the more bullish it is in the overall scheme of things. So through 4,400 directly, and I'd start to worry if I was the bears. Over on the NASDAQ, okay, we're on the daily on the NASDAQ as well. And just like on ES, it came into key resistance over here with this topping area here and this bottoming area here. So 14,951. We talked about this level, this 15,000 level yesterday. They came right up to it and held. And so far, they're holding the target area that we would expect them to hold for a pullback. Now, NASDAQ has a little bit more of bullish sentiment. It always has. It has not come down. This is kind of my worry of the bull or the bear count. The worry of the follow through to the downside is that the NASDAQ did not break its pivot. The NASDAQ is pushing up into the upper portion of its resistance zone here, and we still haven't seen kind of that B and C that you'd expect to see. So NASDAQ is a little bit of something to keep an eye on for the overall count, but I am still in the bear camp until proven otherwise. Now, for the NASDAQ, we can allow a little bit higher. Over 15,000 is a little bit problematic, but about 15,300 would be where I'd want to see them hold this kind of shoulder line here. As you come across, you'd want to see them hold that 15,300 area and then push down from there. So they do have some room to the upside where they can pull back and give us this kind of look. But the more directly higher they take it, the more bullish it becomes on the NASDAQ, and the more we should be on the lookout for a switch over to the bullish count where we're looking to come back and try to take out the highs up toward the top. So NASDAQ's at this 382 as well. Usually pretty strong resistance. Usually it's a wave high. So you'd look for this to be a pullback, and then C to kind of complete the move. But the more direct they move into this area, the more we have to watch out for the bull count. Now on NASDAQ, it's a little bit different because we are in a diagonal. So what we would look for in this wave 5 off of a wave 4 high is an A, B, C down. And so it's going to look corrective either way. So this is going to make it a little more challenging. The length of this wave will give us a hint as to what we're looking at. The deeper this wave goes, the more bearish it becomes. But in either case, if we're looking for, a higher A, B, C pullback to hold and then go, that would be looking similar to this A, B setup as well, and then C down that actually breaks down and through the lows into this area for 13,600 for this wave 5. So a little more challenging on the NASDAQ to identify the pullback as a tell. ES should be a lot more clear. We should be able to see a 5-wave structure to the downside, which will give us a strong indication that the decline has begun. And we would be looking for that 3 of 3 of C to break down. Guys, if you love the information that I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. There's a link down in the description. Go ahead and click that link. It'll take you right over to the website. Once you're there, check out our membership plans area. We have 2 incredible plans, and they both come with a 7-day free trial. Because I want you to get in there, I want you to meet the trading team, become part of the community, and make sure you love it. See what it's all about. You have nothing to lose before you ever spend a penny. You can cancel at any time. We have our Elliott Wave for Beginners online course. This course is helping real traders make real money and understand the market in a way that finally makes sense. When you have Jerry being hawkish in the press conference yesterday, but the market is shooting higher, that can be very confusing. We were all over it because of Elliott Wave. We understood what to look for and why, and Elliott Wave makes sense of the market in a way that you understand the key levels and you understand what happens when those break or when they hold, so you don't have to be confused by the news cycles. Now, this course is 25 videos in 3 sections where I go over your introduction, which is your expectations, your mindset and emotion, the KISS method, and why it works. And then the key area is the chart setup and tools. This is where we find these plays, these tops and bottoms, how to understand what the market's going to do. Using these tools along with Elliott Wave gives you a clear advantage over anyone else trading in the field. And then finally, we have our Elliott Wave for Beginners area, where I go through each wave, how they work, what their confirmations are, what their failures are, what they're supposed to look like. I go through the theory of alternation, the corrective depth theory, the pivot, everything you want to know to finally understand the market in a way that makes sense so that you can trade the market effectively. The really cool thing, guys, is if you don't want to pay the $67, the course is included for free in both monthly rooms. In our first room, the Invest with Jacob room, you get all of my real-time market updates, all of my buy and sell alerts, all of your Elliott Wave questions answered, a midday video where I go over exactly where we are in the counts and what to expect, as well as the training material you just saw. We trade the SPY and the QQQ, and we day and swing trade, which means we trade quite often in my room. But if you're looking for individual stocks, futures trading, as well as advanced training, then you want to check out PT's Throne Room. In there, you get everything you get in the Invest with Jacob room, as well as day trading, individual stocks, futures trading, and PT's reduced risk binary method that absolutely crushes the market. He gets you in at a cheap price and gets you huge multiples on your money. And it's how he structures his trades that's so unique. It's something you really have to see to understand, and that's another reason we give you that 7-day free trial. He also started a challenge account where he put $4,000 into an account, trading mini ES futures, showing you how to build a small account into a large retirement or savings account. Guys, we would love to have you in our room so we can all make money together. All right, the key takeaways for today, it's really simple. The 382 is a key area, 43.36 on the ES. If they can hold that area, we'd look for a pullback. Okay, a pullback that breaks down into the 42.25 to 4,200 range and then up in C towards 4,400 would be a strong indication that we're in wave 2 and we would look for that drop. The higher they push this, the less likely or the more likely we can be in the bull count, I guess is what I should say. The more likely that the bulls have a chance to take this higher. So the higher that they push here is important. If they push up over 4,400 directly, then the bulls do have a lot more hope than they have right now. So we would look for the bears to be able to stop them somewhere in between here and 4,400, give us a pullback, and then a move up. And then the key really is the decline. We want to see 5 waves. Once we see that, it's a strong indication that we're in wave 3 to the downside. Over on the NASDAQ, very similar type setup. We are at the 382. They can push as high as about 15,300, but the higher they push this directly, the more issues we have for the bear count. The NASDAQ has always been more bullish the whole way up. I've talked about that in depth. So 15,300 would really be kind of where we want them to hold and then down, but we can still see a little bit of a pullback here and then a move higher toward that 15,300 area, or they can just kind of start to break down. The issue on the NASDAQ is it will be a 3-wave breakdown in any case, so that will be harder to chart. Guys, it's the weekend. Get outside, grab yourself a drink, enjoy your family, get away from the computer, have some fun. I will talk to you next week.